Holy is this place. Eucharist is central to the sisters' lives, whether expressed in the liturgy, in their daily lives and service, or in the practice of perpetual adoration. It is important then to point out the daily rhythm of common prayer with which the sisters punctuate and sustain their lives. Supporting this common prayer is Maria Angelorum, a very important liturgical space. The font. Coming to the entrance of the chapel, one notes the presence of a font of blessed water. Its substantial size and beautifully thrown clear glass bowl stands as a solemn reminder of our entry into the Christian life at our baptism. Note the design of the base of the font. The rounded curves found here are seen throughout the chapel, on the ends of the pews, in the pillars, the rounded edges of the sanctuary steps, and in the furnishings in the sanctuary, to cite just a few. Openings in the sides of the top of the base, where the bowl rests, allows the water to be seen from all directions. The floor under the pews was left uncarpeted to help enhance the acoustics, which are particularly lively in this space. Care in the design of the early flooring can be seen in the side aisles. The pews. Here, the sisters pray for the world, for the church, their community, loved ones, and the many intentions brought to their attention. Mass is celebrated in this chapel, as well as other prayer services and prayerful celebrations central to the traditions and life of the congregation. The pews are original to the chapel. The pews were simply refinished during the restoration of the chapel in 1991 to preserve the ornamental hand carvings. The pews were built of native red oak. La Crosse is located in the center of red oak territory. Lumbermen were harvesting the old red oak trees in the early 1900s as this chapel was built. We appreciate the detail of the hand-sculpted carvings that ornament the chapel pews. The talented Hackner carvers replicated symbols from our Catholic heritage that beautify and enrich these red oak chapel pews. Throughout the chapel, the wood carvers' labors are visible as they enrich the beauty and cherished heritage of this chapel. Power tools were not introduced in the Hackner factory until 1910. This chapel was completed by 1906. Close observation of the ornate end of each pew reveals a 4-petal rose design. The 4-petal flower is the mystical rose, which is a medieval symbol and name of the Virgin Mary. This mystical rose is repeated throughout the chapel, in the top of the pillars, painted in the ceiling, and at the top and bottom of the side windows. Thus, the symbol of Mary is repeated throughout the chapel. 2 arches, visible above and below the rose design, were carved with intricate detail. The 2 stylized oak leaf carvings beneath represent the strength of the church. The 2 ends of the top arch are punctuated with fleur-de-lis, a symbol of the Blessed Virgin. Fleur-de-lis are repeated throughout the chapel, on chairs and prie-dieu. At the bottom of each pew end is another often repeated symbol, the Greek cross surrounded by egg and dart carving design, representing the passion and resurrection of Jesus. The oval in the design is an egg for the resurrection, and the dart is the sword for the death of Christ. Even the smallest details of the carvings have some meaning for our faith. The front railings of the pews show repeats of arches, Greek crosses, columns, and fleur-de-lis. The sanctuary steps. It is here, on the steps, that the sisters stand to declare their intention to move through the stages of entrance into religious life and the profession of vows. Vows are repeated here as sisters celebrate their jubilees. Sisters elected to leadership positions assume their roles with an oath of office here. Sisters being sent by the congregation to special missions, such as Africa, El Salvador, and other places, receive their commissioning on these steps. Here, affiliates declare their intention to live their Franciscan spirituality in their own personal lives, prayer, ministry, with public and parish community. Here, prayer partners present themselves to be commissioned as partners in the ministry of adoration. It is to the foot of these steps, finally, that the body of each sister is brought, while the community keeps vigil and celebrates her life and marks her death. For funerals, the font from the chapel entrance is brought to the foot of the steps. Again, the font serves as the visible reminder of the life of faith in which the sister lived and died. The altar. The central point of Catholic churches is the altar of sacrifice. While often covered in our chapel to reflect feasts or seasons, our altar stands as a strong, bold piece that is simple in decor yet powerful in its simplicity. Because of the ornate character of the decorative elements of the chapel, it is important for the furnishings to be plain and simple yet strong. The Ambo. The Ambo, at which the Word of God is proclaimed, is also an imposing yet simply designed creation. A feature of the Ambo is the ability to raise or lower the central desk to better serve the various heights of people stepping forward to proclaim the Word in liturgical and other prayerful celebrations of the community. Other furnishings. The presider's chair, the cantor stand opposite the Ambo, the major candle stands, the credence table, and chairs for servers all carry through the same simple design. Of special note is the Processional Cross with its replica of the treasured San Damiano cross, which is so important in the history of the Franciscan order. It is known as the cross from which Jesus spoke to Francis, "Rebuild my church,"